we're going to talk about who is a data analyst, so we understand who a data analyst is different from the other professions. We're going to talk about why is it a great career? Why is data analyst a good career right now? And then we'll talk about the key skills needed to succeed in this endeavor, and then also how to skill up. And then at the end, we're going to have question and answers. So I know you had some questions from the group chat that we already had. So some of them will be answered, some of them may not be answered directly, but at the end, you have all the time to ask me the questions so I can be able to clarify all your doubts. Those who want to get into this field, maybe it's their first time, they want to understand a few things before getting in. You have the floor at the end to ask all your questions about data analysis, data science, data engineering, generally about that field. But we are focused more on data analysis. Okay, so before we begin, let me talk a bit about myself. I'm Cyril Bandolo. I'm a data analyst and a data scientist and business analyst too, because I have more than 10 years experience switching roles between operations analyst, decision support analyst, and currently I'm senior manager data analytics and business performance at Yumi Cameroon, a telecom company. I've worked the telecom company like MTN. So I have this experience as analyst for more than 10 years. And also as a freelancer on Upwork, I do some web scraping, machine learning with Python. So I also do a lot of data science work on Upwork that complements my data analytics skills, which I do in my full-time job. So that's why I have this data analyst and data scientist view of things. I'm also the owner of the YouTube channel, which I recently created out of the passion I had for the whole data thing. So I created this YouTube channel, Data Science with Cyril. You could check it out later, and where I teach learning Python and data science from scratch for beginners. So also skills I have at Excel, advanced Excel skill. I've been using Excel for long with Visual Basic and Python. R. I started with R when R was still the leader, and then Python. Yes. Please, could you turn off your mic? Or you had a question? Okay. So what I propose is we turn off our mics so that at the end we can have the time to ask questions, so that I flow with the presentation, and then you note down your questions, so that at the end we have all your points will be resolved. So as I was saying, I have these skills. I started with R, and then I later on went to Python because I noticed most of the jobs and most of the jobs or the opportunities, many of them I was seeing lots of Python. So I gradually had to shift and learn Python too. SQL, Power BI for visualization, Tableau, and then SAS. So I'm also founder of the Analytics CFD, which is Analytics Center for Data, which is data consulting company, and also training. So which is these are some of the small things about me. So let's go straight away. Let's start with the first part, which is who is a data analyst and what do they do? So generally, data analysis is the process of collecting the data, cleaning the data, analyzing the data, finding patterns, interpreting, visualizing, and then you come up with some insights that can help drive the business to take more effective business decisions. So at the end of the day, the summary is the data analyst starts from data collection, which is usually at times what you see in job descriptions, ETL. You collect the data. You need to clean it because data doesn't come usually clean. At times you have the data is they're having missing values. Some names are capital letters in some, small letters in others. So you have to clean the data. And then you also analyze it to see if you can get some insight. Sometimes it might just be a quick insight. Sometimes it might take long to generate the insight. And then you interpret, you visualize at times, just because a visual speaks. Visual is worth 1,000 words. So at times just a visual would be able to solve all the problems that your company has as a data analyst. So this is how the data analyst fits in the ecosystem. So let me put my painter here. So right up here, you have the top management. who always want to request for information. They want to get some information. So they go through the data analyst, who is usually collecting the business requirements from these guys. And the data analysts go down to these guys here who are the data warehouse and the data IT infrastructure guys. So they collect from here. That is where usually when we'll see below your SQL skills come into play. So they usually collect from here. Then they do all the cleaning, analyzing, interpreting, visualization, so that they can be able to supply the information to these guys up here to take better decisions. So it is the process of the information requirement comes from up, usually comes down. Then the data analyst collect the data from here and send it up. So it could be a data analyst, it could be a clinic health care analyst, it could be a planning analyst, it could be a marketing analyst, it could be, so generally analysts here, they collect information from here, treat it and transform it to supply to these guys up here. So that is why, as from the beginning, I was saying it is better to realize that your role starts from right down here to right up here. So it's good to try to occupy this chain along the line where you collect the data yourself, you clean the data, you analyze the data, and then you even propose action plans to these people up here. So you are like a one-man army. It's good to try to occupy this line, because if not, you start here and say, okay, I saw that the data is this percentage has increased. That's all you have to say. Then somebody has to take that percentage and understand it before telling these people up here. So, but then you have to try to talk to these people directly and talk to these ones directly. So in the long run, you need to occupy this line. So let's move on. So what are some of the things that data analysts do at work? For example, they help with business planning. You help set realistic goals and KPIs. For example, your company wants to do a business plan. They need to analyze historically how it has been the trend before saying, okay, this year we are going to do $1,000 per day or $2,000 per day. What are the basis of that business, of that coming out with those KPIs? So the KPIs, again, is a key performance indicators. So the analyst helps to be able to look at all the trends, look at all the elasticity, demand and supply, and all, and then come up with these are the kind of goals we can set for this month, which are realizable. Also, they help the company make effective decisions, such as pricing decisions, to be able to analyze this, the cost that we bought this thing from, this is the margin we are going to give back, this is the tax we pay, this is the amount and the psychological price that the customers want to buy. This is the value that the customers can get from this. So at the end of the day, this is the price we can set for that offer or that good or that service. Inventory management, like in the supply chain, when you're working as an analyst with the supply chain, you should be able to tell your bosses, stock turnover, okay, we are like short of these goods now, or we'll be short of these goods in 6 months time. So let's start commanding these goods maybe 2 months before, so that by the time we get to that shortage, we already have them here. I mean, so there's a lot of contribution you can do in terms of the supply chain and inventory management. Even on the human resource analyst side, you might need to get some statistics to know who are the most performant employees generally, and be able to help your company make decisions on how many resources we need, what training we need, and the impact we expect from this training. And also, when you come to segmentation and personalized offers, most of the time we get offers nowadays. When you go and you try to buy something from an e-commerce site, you go to your Facebook account or some other site, you see they're proposing that to you. So we have targeted campaigns, which even the data analyst can do at a certain level. There's the data scientists who come with more advanced algorithms, deep learning, complicated stuff, but at the base, the data analyst is able to help a company segment the customer base and also create personalized offers. You can do that at the basic level. Then maybe the data scientists can come up with a higher level. The machine learning specialists could come up with higher level, but then the data analyst also helps the company to segment offers. You also have operational efficiency. So to help to reduce costs and increase revenue, you look at, let's say this campaign, let's launch this campaign now so that it can increase our revenue. These are some areas where it costs us a lot. Is it better we rent this equipment or we buy this equipment? So the data analyst would help the company to decide if they should save on this cost by maybe buying the equipment at once because we are renting it more. At the long run, it costs us more. So those are some interesting things that the data analyst could do for the company. So overall, the data analyst helps the company for decision support, performance optimization. So with the data analyst by the side of the top management, that now I'm assuming that you don't just limit yourself to a data analyst as in just taking the data, analyzing and sitting quiet, but you are able to carry that ball from collecting the data, analyzing it, and actually making recommendations. So that is why the data analysis is very important for the company. And if you look at it, in telecom, for example, you can look at it per industry. The telecom analyst would typically help the company to do some customer segmentation and profiling. Most of us, with our phones, we receive personalized offers. These are the role of data analysts. I'm saying data analysts do some level, but the data scientists typically have complicated machine learning models which can take this really, really further. But the data analyst is on his way. For me, I believe data analyst is on his way to become a data scientist. So it's still his contribution. And then you have also churn control. Churn is the number of subscribers that leave the telecom. You had maybe 100 subscribers. Then at the end of the month, you're left with 90 subscribers. So 10 the churn, those who left your network for maybe the competitor's network. So the data analyst also helps to control and reduce this churn, helps with customer lifetime value management, which is a very key thing for most telecom companies. The telecom company needs to know how much do I expect in an average from a customer. So this customer spends averagely $10 per month for 10 months. So I expect about $100 from this customer before he leaves. So if I'm to do a campaign, the cost of acquisition, I should not spend more than $100 to attract that customer to come to me. So that's something, customer lifetime value management. And then for banking, you have the fraud detection. It's true that data science helps a lot with the machine learning models to detect anomalies in, you say you've been withdrawing 100,000 every month, 100,000 every month, then all of a sudden you withdraw a certain heavy amount. We use some machine learning models to detect the different anomalies. But then we know that the fraud detection, even at the basic level, we can be able to understand what caused the fraud before and maybe try to reduce those risks. Same as risk mitigation, people who come to seek for loans, the data analyst would help to identify who are the risky guys that we don't need to give them loans and those that we can give them loans, maybe even based on historic data. And then you have developing new banking products, new banking portfolios, and also on e-commerce here, you have to customize offers. Most of us have been online to buy one or two things from one e-commerce stores, and then at times we see instant promotions, get your discounts now. So all of that, the analyst has to analyze and see the profitability and the probability. Maybe you were a customer who they were about to lose, by the way, so it's better for them to give you a discount than just to lose you completely without getting anything from you. So that's how the data analyst helps e-commerce to get customized offers, and also the supply chain. And then we discussed about supply chain earlier, also to help to reduce frauds online. So even in the health analyst, they help to monitor disease patterns and track these outbreaks. Even though we have some machine learning models, when you start learning Python as a data analyst, you can do more to be able to predict and track. And they use lots of stuff. It was used during the pandemic to track a lot of even from tweets, to be able to track the movement of the patients. But then it's still data analysts at the basic level, then data scientists take it further. So, and also reduce readmissions to hospitals by identifying factors that bring people back to the hospital bed. So the healthcare analyst would be able to help to do that, and also develop better targeted vaccines and preventive techniques to also can do some simulations to be able to run some simulations and see these vaccines are effective for this kind of genes or not this kind of genes. So there are lots of stuff that the analytics mind in the healthcare industry can really contribute a lot to improve. So just to show you that we are agreed that there was, during the lockdown around this period, there was a drop in demand almost for every profession. Almost everybody was at least affected by that. But we see that there has been there's been a boom increase in the demand for data science, data analysts. At times the human resource mixes these job descriptions. At times they say data analyst role. When you read the details, it's a data scientist role. They say data science role is. So generally the field of data science, you see that it's been increasing since 2014 till now. It just keeps increasing. So to show you that the first thing is that it is in high demand, so it's a good field. And then now when you look at some of the reasons why it's a good career is, for example, there is this talent shortage. The highest data scientists are in India, and data analytics people there. So there is the whole huge talent shortage, and that is why companies are looking to fill up those gaps with people who know what they are doing. And then you have also the thing of attractive salaries, because that comes with when there's demand and supply. When there's the shortage, you normally expect the salaries to be higher than the average IT salaries averagely. So you have high salaries which are attracting you here. And then you also have a good career growth, which is, it is easier to move up to strategic roles, because you talk to the managers each time. You tell the manager, let us do this promotion in the north, let us do this 20% reduction. They see you like somebody, they influential, they see you like somebody they can rely on. So you easily move up the career ladder because you help make decisions. And then also there's a good work-life balance here, because every project is different. You are part analyst and part artist. So each solution is your now we are talking about how do we improve our revenue. No, next time we're talking about how do we improve our supply chain, how do we try to cut costs, how do we maybe launch a new update, and should we upgrade or not. So things like that make your life very interesting, because you do, it's like you're on different projects all the time. So it's a very interesting field in terms of work-life balance. And then you also have, as we say here, you're a key decision maker. So you talk to top management, and they listen to you. You go, you collect information, you bring it back to them. They trust you. So it's a very, 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 very interesting role. And then at the end of the day, for me, I think that it is the first step to become a full data scientist, and then leave your mark in the world. When you start building apps, building complicated stuff end to end, because you've understood what people want, and then you start adding now app development, your programming skills, software development skills, and other complicated things. It's along the way, then you leave your mark. So I think that it's important. And then there is this interesting thing here, that nearly every product will either become smart, either using analytics or data driven, or they become obsolete. We've seen Kodak, we've seen lots of examples in history where you either use your data to become smart, or you go out of business. So that is why analytics is growing, and it's a good career for us to get into. So the next thing is, we can't talk about analytics without talking about the analytics process. So this is the process. This is actually what defines who is a data analyst, data scientist, different from maybe an accountant and other jobs, is because we frame the business problem. You sit with those top executives, they say, okay, we want to increase the revenue from these stores. We know clearly that that is the objective. What is the data we need to collect? Maybe we need to collect the number of people who visit, that number of cars who go around that area. What you need to get all of that information. We collect that data based on these objectives. Then we need to clean that data, because the data came, maybe the person who was entering the data was entering it with other objectives in mind. So we need to clean it, do some transformations. And then typically the data analyst on average ends here. That means ends this way, generally on average. So after that, you do your exploratory data analysis, you come up with insights that were not seen before. Nobody was thinking about them before, this exploratory data analysis. And then most of the time, this is where you do your visualizations, you come up with the wow things here. So generally, averagely, your data analyst is supposed to end here, while the data scientist comes with building the machine learning models and then deploying it in the cloud, the new field of MLOps. So averagely, but then the case is different countries, different companies, different job descriptions. You can go, is it a startup? You can go to a team, you're the only one there, you're forced to do all of this. You can go to a team, there are 5 of you, there's the data analyst, there's the data engineer, there's a software developer. So averagely, this is usually where the data science, the data analysts, this is the contribution of the data analyst generally. So that's why they will be talking about things like visualization tools like Power BI here, Tableau here, to be able to, for us to see what you've seen easily more here. While for data scientists, they'll be looking at building a model that is efficient, can take maybe 2 million requests per second, stuff like that. That's what we want to hear from you. And then your model is accurate. You can predict it's 90% accurate. So this is what the data scientists wanting to hear from, which I say, if you're on your route to become a data scientist, it means you first start here. Then later on, you add this, and then you become a complete data scientist. So I just want to check, can somebody confirm if you're all getting me? Can somebody just turn on the mic and confirm? Can you get me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for that confirmation. Just to be sure, you could find yourself talking alone. You could find yourself talking alone. Okay, that's fine then. So let's move on. Please keep your questions, because at the end, I think the most important thing for me is to clarify all your doubts. That's the most important thing for me. So let's move on. So, and then now, this is just to get an idea of how the problem, what could be some elements when you're doing your problem framing. So zooming into problem framing, some of the things you need to do is you need to obtain the clear statement from your bosses and the requirements. What do you guys really want? They might be telling you the problem is there when the problem is here. So you need to really be clear. This is where everything starts. You start a wrong problem, it's like garbage in, garbage out. You just keep moving, going the wrong direction. So they might say the marketing guys are not doing their job, or the sales guys are not doing their job. They are not selling. But then you might realize that the problem is just that there is stock, but the logistics guys are not giving the stock to the marketing guys or the sales guys in time to sell. So don't be derailed here. You have to be firm here to be able to take your stand and know clearly this is the problem we are trying to solve. Okay, are we aligned? So that is why you need to also find out, does this, let's just come here, the stakeholders, who are the stakeholders concerned in this project? It might be something that has to do with the law, the government. It might be something that if you do that, it's against the law. So you need to be able to know who are all the stakeholders, who are all the subject matter experts that you need to talk to understand how we are going to go about this problem. So it's a teamwork, and that's one of the things that the data analyst role is interesting, because you need to talk to everybody. We'll see that in some of the skills. You need team spirit. So communication, you need to be able to talk with everybody, understand what is going on, so that the business counts on you, especially when you are the one understanding your SQL, getting the data, you're the one cleaning it, you're the one presenting it. So we just need to trust you. So you need to talk to everybody. Then, you need to determine if the problem actually needs an analytic solution. They say the problem might not be a problem that needs Excel, or that needs Power BI, or it might just be a problem that it's a legal problem. So there's nothing we can do about it because the regulation doesn't permit us to move further. So you need to know, do I need to take out my tools or not? These are some of the things that you do when you're framing the problem. And then you obtain a clear agreement with the stakeholders on what is really the problem. Let us be clear. So clearly, we have concluded that the problem is a legal problem, guys. They say, yes, we have all concluded it's a legal problem. So no need for analysis again. Yes, no need for analysis. Okay, fine, we are good. So because these are things that you need to be clear from the beginning. If not, you go and start working, and then you come back, they say you wasted time, you're wasting, what is this? This is useless. This is not what we asked for. So you feel stupid. So that is why you need to be clear here. That's why I'm stressing here on this problem framing. This is the beginning, and it's very important. Then you also need to know, okay, now I know what I need to do. So what is the data that I need to collect? So I need to identify and prioritize the data I need. I need to collect maybe data of cars passing by that road junction to know how many cars or how many people pass per day, so I can be able to estimate if we can put our store there, the footfall or not. So these are, you need to know the data you need. You also need to know how you acquire the data. Will you go and stand there the whole day and be counting people coming in and coming out, or you would go and you use a third party, somebody who's already collected that data, you buy from the person, or so you need to acquire the data, and then the data doesn't come clean again. You need to clean the data and harmonize it, put it in such a way that maybe all the dates they are following the same pattern. There might be the date starts with the month, another one starts with the year first, another one starts with the day first. So you adjust things in order so that they can fit the same pattern, so that you can be able to see what is the insight clearly. And then now you at times need to either do the reports here and here, or go back again and redefine the problem and saying that it's impossible to get this data. Maybe we need to frame the problem differently. So it's a back and forth. You'll see this coming several times. You need to always be checking with the original problem. Am I still in line with the problem? So also, now when it comes to exploratory data analysis, one of the major things there is to identify relationships. What's the difference between exploratory data analysis and others is because it's usually not, we don't know what we are generally looking for. We are just exploring, and if we find something interesting, then we zoom in and we share the insight. So you just go there, maybe on the weekend, you start playing with the data, then you see something, you come up with it, which is different from the others, which at times they ask you, go and give me this information, which is different from exploratory data analysis most of the time. So you can either report your findings and with a clear communication, or you refine the problem again, and then we go back to the beginning. So this now is when you're like, for the data science guys, machine learning, even though I say some job descriptions require you to do this, but then normally, it was not normally your role, but then you need to understand that at times you just need to learn some of these things, how to build your models, how to calibrate, choose the best models out of trying maybe 4 or 5 models, which one is more accurate at the same time, which one is more, those are advanced topics for machine learning, the bias variance. So you also need to look at how do we go live, which system should we put it on, AWS, Azure, all that. It's usually the role of the data scientists and the DevOps guys. That's why the new role came up, MLOps. At times you need to do them yourself. So you need to support the deployment and also maintain your model. Let your model make sure that after 6 months it's still predicting correctly. It has not started giving wrong results. So if you look at it here, there are types of analysis that you can be expected to do. Descriptive analysis is what happened. That's why you need to understand things like mean, variance, mode, median. They'll help you here. Exploratory data analysis is what we saw, the correlations. What are some relationships between these two variables? What causes this one to increase? What causes this one to decrease? Relations. Now you have diagnostic analysis, which is why is it that this specific store is not selling well for the past 3 months? Maybe the location of the store is not great. So your 5 whys, why, the next why. So why at the end of the day, you do 5 whys or your root cause analysis, you come to the reason of why that store is not performing. And then these are the predictive analysis, which is mostly typically the data science guys' jobs, to use some machine learning, and then you can still use your statistics at the level to do some small correlations and some forecasting based on historic data. This is still what the data analyst is expected to do. And then you have the prescriptive analysis, which is like optimization, linear programming, simulation, helping to organize how maybe the cars will move, how the driver 1 will move and stop driver, warehouse 1, warehouse 2, stuff like that. Optimization models in airplane, you need to stop here, carry this number of first class passengers, drop these ones off, carry this number of third-class passengers, drop these other ones off. So this is like optimization and prescriptive analysis. So let us go now to the key skills that are needed to become a data analyst. So I would like to check, are we still in line? Can somebody please turn on the mic and just tell me you're getting me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for that feedback. Okay, good. Okay, so let's get on with this. So this is to show you the difference. We usually have math statistics, business understanding and communication, and then software engineering, which is more of the programming side. So the data engineer is more on the end of this between programming and maths, little business, just making sure that the data is available in the data lake or the data warehouse for this data analyst to pick up. Though the data analyst is usually, we don't expect too much of programming from the data analyst, but more of like your statistics, your mean, your variance, your mode, so that you can be able to do your exploratory data analysis at best. You can be able to do your descriptive analysis. You can be able to do your diagnostic. So you need to understand just some not too complicated software engineering principles, like how to make your code efficient, object-oriented programming, how to do version control. So stuff like that might not be too much of an interest to the data analyst, and then as much as it is to the data scientist. So what do we see? We see that a data analyst who adds a bit of software engineering and those goes detailing into the coding side would easily become a data scientist. So this was just to make you see a small difference between the three, so that we know that the data engineer is mostly at the end supplying you with the data. Then the data analyst picks up this from the data engineer and does what he could do with the statistics, but the data scientist could do more. And maybe we can say do almost all, start from here to here. So that is it's a very big role for the data scientist. So there's this interesting Venn diagram, which might just some of the things might not be exact, but at least it's just something illustrative. So whenever I present this, some people start looking here. They say, who are the guys doing the hot air? They just talk, but they don't do anything. These are people who just talk hot air. So they know only communication. They don't know anything about the business. They don't know anything about programming. They don't know anything about statistics. So the analyst here is, if you see the analyst here again, is intersection between business, statistics, and communication. So there's little programming expected. But then what is happening in our real world, this is an old Venn diagram. What is happening today is that with the coming of big data and the fact that the data is increasing exponentially, the data analyst has no choice but to find himself programming, because, for example, some companies you cannot do without SQL. In a small company, you can do your Excel. You can be okay if you have below 1 million lines of rows of data. But when you start, as data is increasing every day with the social media, with the smart watches, all these things that we have, Internet of Things, connected homes. So data is increasing so much that soon we just have, as analysts, we just have to find a way to add this programming to our skill set. So that is why if you look at the key skill sets here, for the data analyst, we require domain knowledge. So you need to understand, because to advise the business to say, let us do this promotion in the north, or let us do this, is because you understand what that means. It's not just figures. You need to communicate. You need to be able to help solve problems. You need to be a critical thinker, because each problem is different. And then on the technical side, you have Excel, SQL, and then your Power BI and Tableau for visualization. And then you have Python and R, even at the level of just doing your data wrangling, just cleaning data, doing your exploratory data analysis, maybe not doing predictions. For those who know Python, for example, you might be contented with your NumPy, your Pandas, your just core Python, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn. You might not be necessary for you to know scikit-learn, TensorFlow, PyTorch, which you can for your benefit, but then we don't expect that from you. And then you have your AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, where you could your company might be running on serverless So you need to be able to just join in, because since the pandemic, many businesses went cloud wise. So you might just join the train. So it's attractive if we see that on your CV. So you see here that if we have to explain to you what the skills are, domain knowledge is to know how the business model works and to speak the language of the business. You might need a mentor, you might need to read about the business, but you need to understand it. That's why when somebody has like 5 years, 6 years in a domain, he can easily become an analyst because he's understood everything that the business is all about, how the business functions. So you also have critical thinking. You need to challenge every assumption. Are we saying that is it the marketing people that have the problem, or is it logistic people that have the problem? So you need to do that. You need to be creative. So you need to come up with new ways of doing things, and then we need to be able to know that every problem is different, and then you communicate your findings, give a clear communication of all that you've observed. And then so we have this, you see the skills are so many. So people start wondering, do we need to be full stack data scientists, like full stack and web developers, where there's a front end, there's a back end? That's why my idea is that your knowledge should be T-shaped. You have just basic knowledge of what Excel, SQL, Power BI, Python, and then maybe your app development because your software development. But then you can go now deep in one field, like a specialist, where when the work is above maybe your colleague or above some other company staff, they call you. So you need to be, you have a broad knowledge, just the basics of everything. You know maybe how front end applications work, what is React, what is Node.js. You just have a knowledge, at least broadly. You're able to have a conversation with all your team, but then you need to get an expertise somewhere here. Why would this help you? This will help you especially when you're looking for online jobs. So if you're on Upwork, for example, or Freelancer, the guy putting the job there, he's probably tried it with basic tutorials that are out there. It's above him. That's why he puts up the job, because he cannot solve that problem. So he needs somebody who is good in that thing and can even teach, is above him by far. So that is why if it's just basic, everybody is basic, then they will need, well, you need to move one step ahead in one of these things. It could be focusing on Python and learning machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, natural language programming, building chatbots. It could be SQL. You do complicated stuff from SQL end to end. You take SQL, you build even reports and visualize. You do everything in SQL. It could be that you really go deep into it. And then it could be Excel with your Visual Basics. You do your web scraping with Visual Basics. So you get a broad knowledge, because companies will request this for interview, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so. But then you know that deep within you, there's a specialty that you are very, very comfortable with. So that is why now I have these resources for you, for free resources that you can learn. For example, Excel and Power BI. You have Chandu, very good for learning your Excel and your Power BI. You also have this Khan Academy for learning your statistics and probability, and your for SQL. Khan Academy 2 is still good for you. You want to get SQL skills, you go there. And then this course, I found it interesting. I did it some time ago. This Introduction to Python Udacity is also a free course, which is interesting for you to learn. And but then we are currently offering a data analyst crash course program. So if you feel like because the problem we understand with online courses is that at times the follow-up, you go and learn SQL this way, go and learn Python this way, go and learn, it's not coordinated to one structure, and then you become demotivated at some point in time because you're alone. So that is why we created this data analyst crash course, which teaches you the data analytics, and that's the mindset, mastering the analysis process. You understand how to use Excel at the first level, because there are many companies that use Excel, and there are many of your colleagues that use Excel. At times, you might need to transfer things to Excel and then send it to them. You learn SQL to be able to get your data directly from the data warehouse, and then you do some great visualizations with Power BI, which you connect directly to the database, and you do real-time visualization that your manager can even see on his phone app to the Power BI service. And then you learn some Python, which would help you to do your exploratory data analysis for your visualization, your data mining, data wrangling. And then you have projects that would also help to showcase that these are some of the things that you've done. Because when you do these skills, like when you do get these skills like this, one of the problems we face in the field is what are the projects that could prove that you are applying some of these skills. So this course was because of the fact that many programs are scattered all over the place, and we try to bring it together so that we do everything so that at the end of the day, upon completion of the certification, you know that you have those skills here, as we are showing here, which already makes you to know where you stand and how you can go deeper and improve on them. So you also have customized trainings. Maybe currently you have a problem with visualization, or you need to do some presentation and you need just that specific 3 hours training of visualization. You want to take the Python developer route and build stuffs. You want to learn web scraping. You want to learn Excel. Maybe Excel is giving you trouble in the office and you feel uncomfortable all the time asking your colleagues for help. So we have specialized trainings that we could also do for you based on your current situation. So with that, I think that I am now ready to receive your questions. So let me come out of here, and you can ask your questions. Okay. Okay. So what are some of the questions? Anybody, even in the chat, you could write your questions, because I think with questions we are going to have more understanding on some of the things that are disturbing us. So, sir, will you please send us this PowerPoint for reference? Okay, that you have the video, you have these videos available. I'll share the links with you. We'll send it to you, so you are able to follow up all of these things. So you're going to have that. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Any other issues? Can I become Excel analyst by just mastering Excel without VBA? Yes, of course. Of course, you can become of course, Raja, you can become an Excel analyst without using VBA. There are many people who don't even know how to use pivot tables effectively, who don't even know how to use the right charts, like to know that for now I have to use maybe the radar chart, the clustered bar chart. So with that, you can have lots of things that you can do. There are many companies which use just Excel. Imagine you have you don't need Visual Basic. Visual Basics might be for complicated stuffs, but there are many companies that with your knowledge of pivot tables, conditional formatting, using your Excel formulae wisely, and your charts, you can be very good. So this Zubai says, sir, can you please give us a roadmap to become a data analyst? Okay, that's a very good question. So for me, the first thing is to learn your Excel. Excel helps because you're able to have that drag and drop feature where you can see what you're doing, you can know what you're doing. When you start coding, you don't see, you just have a picture of what your database looks like, but Excel you see. So you're able to drag and drop and understand. At times when I'm coding, I remember in Excel, what is the formula? I'll say I want to do something in Python. I'll say, okay, how do we say if error in Python? Then I'll go and I'll say they do try and except. I say, okay, I see. But then Excel helps you to like understand that, the base, and then you now have SQL, which is very important, because the database, the data might be so big for Excel to open up, so you need to get the SQL to just go select even the columns that you want. You say just select maybe the north, for example, and give me, and then let me continue with my Excel, for example. So you have the SQL, and then you also have now your Power BI, which can come to add your visualization to make your visualizations more real time, because you connect directly to your data, your ERP, your database, your CRM, and then you produce visuals directly. So then you can learn now your Python to be able to because Python can do most of all of that. You can even use Python inside Power BI. So you can learn now your Python and you move forward. So I think that is a roadmap, and then you start doing your projects. That's a roadmap. Let me see. So I hope I did not miss any question. So would you help us? Yes. Okay, I got that already. Can I become? Yes. So can you give us a roadmap? Yes, we've discussed that. How to get domain knowledge? We are going in sales, marketing, HR. Okay, Rajat is asking how to get domain knowledge. Domain knowledge, one of the key things is you try to read about that field. You try to talk. If you have a mentor, you try to meet people, because you need to understand the jargons. Like I use the word churn. It's a very common telecom term. You cannot be in telecom without understanding that word churn. So you need now to get your domain knowledge. You need to actively, because nobody is born with it, you need to actively go out and check on the field, read journals, meet people in the field, try to really get the good try to talk about the field, so that when you come back home, you sit down, you take a piece of paper, you draw your own ecosystem or your own structure and say, okay, this is how I see it. They connect the dots. I understand that this is how the customer comes in, this is how he goes out, this is how he comes back again, this is how, so you finally now understand the business. So if somebody, I'm not answering your question well, you can always come back to me and ask again, or you tell me it's okay, so that I can also be aware that I am also giving you value. So please, what about data analyst jobs in Africa, particularly here in Cameroon where I am? Okay, that's a good question. If you see here, most of these companies, I mean, all companies deal with figures. So there's always a need for a data analyst. So the thing is just that when you get the skills, you need to start doing some projects to easily be seen, because just the skills, but then you do the projects so that somebody can see that, okay, this guy is passionate about it, he's creative, he's able to come up with all these things and do a sample with it. So these are the kind of people we need on the team, because with the coming of online studies, many people are studying many things. So we need to know who is passionate about what he's doing by keep moving. It's difficult to look at it like because if you say the jobs in Africa or Cameroon, for example, my company, data analyst roles, you go to MTN, there's data analyst, you go even data science, Orange, MTN, you go to Union Bank, UBA, they always have to analyze to be able to say, should I give credit to these guys or not? So these jobs are available. You just need the skills and some projects to show that you are passionate about them. So I hope I've answered your question clearly, Paul. So I have Sharul here. He says, which software should we start to learn first as a beginner? Okay, that question is an interesting question, Sharul. Times if it's my country, I don't have too much. We don't have too much data in most of our companies, so I'll say Excel. But if you find yourself in a country where things are streaming with big data, there's no small company. Every single company's data set starts with 1 million. Then you would be forced to have your SQL in as a tool, because the data will be, you cannot even open up the data in Excel. So it's something that you need to try, but you need those skills, because SQL alone, you need the Excel. And then at some point in time, there are some countries that data is so big that you need to do SQL Python, for example. So generally try to observe the trend, try to observe maybe talk to a few people, try to observe the volume of data, and then you know what you need to start with. But then averagely, I'll say start with Excel, because Excel starts giving you things that are easy to understand. You see, you visualize, you see. Then when you go to the bigger stuffs, you know what you're looking for. So let's go. Let's check the next question. So can you please give me a webinar attending certificate? Okay, I think that is something, Zuba, it's a good point. That's something that we need to start putting into place, because initially it's the second webinar we are organizing. We are still a startup with the Analytics Center for Data, but that is a very good point that you've made. We need to include that. And I would also love at the end if you guys can contact me too and let me know what are some of the topics that you would want us to discuss in subsequent editions, and some of the things that you would want us to go into, and some of the things that you're interested in, so that your feedback can also make me to be able to better customize what is of value to you, because my aim is to see you within a space of time. Some of you maybe start becoming successful in your data analyst jobs, doing big projects, and maybe subsequently developing the next big thing in the world. That would be the pride that we would have, all of us, to see that we are able to both accomplish what we want to do and at the same time get value from it. So that is a good point. And then you say, what are the best resources to start learning Python? Okay, I shared a link. I shared that Sinasi Pandi, maybe I pronounced your name wrongly, sorry. I shared that as a slide. I took this course, this introduction to Udacity Python free course. It's interesting, so you can look at that. Let me see. So I'm currently working as a data analyst. How can I find freelance work? Okay, Martin, that's a good question. To find freelance work, I'll tell you, I think we need a series about how to get freelance jobs there, because my first few days at Upwork as a freelancer was very difficult. I could not understand. I'm sending requests, sending posts for they are posting for jobs, and I'm sending nobody is commenting. But then one of the things is based on how you write your beat. So I found a way. At times you write some beats. I found some beats with better success than the other beats, and then I was getting the call. So some point in time, if I let me see. No, we'll really have to go online some other day. But then on Upwork, you have Excel jobs. Just go and check. You see, you have Excel jobs. You have Power BI jobs. Power BI is very hot and new and good. So you have companies who say, I want you to do my visualization for me. So there are lots of jobs like that. You could use Power BI. That's why that T-shaped learning can be good for you. You T-shape the T, you learn almost the basic stuffs, okay, but then you want to go on Upwork and say, companies, you have problems with your Power BI, and that's one thing. Be very specific when you're online. Do one thing, be an expert in it. We come there because it is above us. We don't come there to find somebody who is basic. So just say, my job, my key thing is Power BI developer. My key thing is Excel VBA. Any other thing, I don't know. I only know Excel VBA. That's how we succeed online. So let me see again. I hope I did not miss anything down there. If your answer is not sufficient, you can always get back to me. You have all means to contact me after this. And then you say, where do you do your first project or internship? Can we find some project online with tasks given to us, like a work in a company? Okay, Raja, that's a good question. So, for example, there are when you get those skills. For example, you take data sets, because, for example, I am able to do web scraping, so I could go to a website and scrape data from there and analyze it. So when you get those skills, they'll be burning in you, and that is what we want to see. We want to see you go and take something, maybe use a bit of web scraping on it. For example, I'm just saying my case, scrape the data, bring it down, clean it, then maybe do some projections on it. Then, for example, I use Flask, Django, I host too. So I have some back-end skills. So you host it now, maybe on the cloud, and then you share that link to somebody. So I'm just saying that at some point in time, to get that job, because it's not like you finish class 1, you go to class 2, you finish class 3, you go to class 3. No, you've gotten the skills. Now you need to connect and shine. So that is why you need to be able to take some data, not the normal, as we used to say, the Titanic data set on Kaga that everybody is doing. No, we need something creative. That is where it shows that your passion, that your energy, and then we spot it that this guy really loves what he's doing. So, but anyway, we can discuss that more again later. Let's have some other questions coming. Because companies are demanding experience. Yes, project at times is either equal to experience or even higher than experience, because when you've done something marvelous, I know of one or two guys, I would say the current AWS hero right now, Mr. Rochus, the of Africa, serverless. He was here with me. We were the same AWS group here in Douala, and he did stuffs, put it in his blog. They called him, and he went to the US with projects, just projects that he did and blocked, and he's working there at the Forbes, the serverless guru, a company which does which consults for Forbes 100. So just to show you that the experience, the fact that they looked at, he did highly technical things and posted them. So they said, this guy knows what he's doing. We need this guy on our team. So everybody wants a winner, right? So the difficult thing is that you will not be able to do technical stuff when you don't have those basic skills. So you get the basic skills, then do your stuffs and showcase. Then somebody says, that is who I need on my team. Okay. Now let's go to Zubair says, sir, we should have to create some WhatsApp group. So if someone is learning or want to learn, so they can help other beginner and be able to share resources with each other. Okay, that's a good point. I think that that's a good point. My subsequently need to create a group so that we can, but yes, we need to see how to do that, because currently those who are in the program, we have a group, so we can create another one, and then we also help out on the beginners. Okay, that's a good point. Thanks Dubai for that. And okay, so let me go back to the chat. So okay, so do we have any other questions? Please turn off your mic so that you don't interfere with the, when you're not talking, you turn it off. Then if you want to say something, you can come up, turn it on and say. Okay, so are there any other questions? Okay. So let me go here, share my screen, and so here we just say that actually what I see is that we need to master Excel, like pivot tables, charts, those formulae, and here again, the VBA, yes, it's not too compulsory for now. You can come to that later. The key is to learn those things fast, and then you can come back later for the deep part. And then you learn your visualizations with your Excel charts and Power BI. Try to do visual. A visual is worth 1,000 words. So it's good to learn your visualizations. And then you learn your SQL for, then this is, I'm assuming that you're not from those kind of companies that you first have to learn SQL heavy, because the data is just so heavy, you can't do anything with Excel. But then in this order, is the average Excel, learn your visualization tools, learn your SQL, and then some data wrangling with Python, and do some projects. So which is just this same structure we are following in the crash course we talked about. So if anybody is interested in that, you can contact me, so that because we are closing the first batch by the 30th of this month. So 30th of this month we're closing, and we might launch it again a couple of months from now. So if you're interested, you get to me later on, and let us see how we could schedule the time for you to join either team 1 during the day or team 2 during the afternoon. So it just depends on the different time zones. Okay, so do we have how we can connect you? Okay, right now you can reach me out. I have many. You can reach me on LinkedIn, and but then let me just leave my email here so that for those who need it immediately, Cyril Bandolo at yahoo.com. I'll just leave this one, my personal email. So Cyril Bandolo at yahoo.com. So you can easily reach out to me for anything. My whole aim is that at the end of the day, we can create many great analysts, and we all can be able to take care of our families from the fact that we love using data to make better decisions and help move the company forward, get that satisfaction that we are moving things forward, and also be able to be compensated for the fact that we move things forward. So if there is any other thing, so I think we have touched almost everything. Is there any question I did not answer well that somebody felt like needed to ask somehow? Maybe was not satisfied with the answer, so that we can conclude and then we call off, and we can continue with emails. That's my email there, on WhatsApp, on LinkedIn, and any form, just to make sure that at the end of the day you all accomplish your dreams. And for me, I think that data analyst should be a step to become a data scientist at the end, so that the sky is the limit. You take from end to end. You scrape your data yourself from from somewhere, clean it, build it, do crazy stuff, put a complicated model, deep learning, the convolutional neural networks, host it online, and maintain the model on your own. Nobody even comes to ask you a single thing. I'm not saying it's a team spirit. It's a teamwork though, but then you want to be able to be somebody that the company says, or even, because let me tell you something, online, when you'll be doing your Upwork, or those who are asking for job online, they'll ask you to do this. They'll say, can you scrape my website, put it in a database, copy it, put it in another website of mine so that it's a copy of the original website, and then you make sure that I have some visualization from it. Okay, so you see, your skills, at the end of the day, they just want to talk to one person who will be able to have all those skills to be able to do all of that at once. So, and then they keep increasing your job task, hoping that you can cover the entire chain. So I have a question here from Gadi. He says Microsoft Data Analyst course is beneficial, or IBM Data Analytics course. I think both are good, because for me the first level is trying to understand the basics, on get that knowledge of the tools, because the first thing is the business domain knowledge. You understand that this is what I can help give value to my company. So this is it. Then now those ones now are also for you to get the tools, get the mind, be able to think like an analyst. And then since you're creative, you could take from this one and use here. It could be R, it could be Python. They are just tools, but you know what you want to solve with those tools. And you could say, I am going to use R now because this advantage of, say, ggplot, their visualization, I like it. I'm going to use ggplot here. Then when I want to do my data wrangling, I'm going to use pandas. So at the end of the day, both for me are beneficial. And the key thing is to learn and then move to projects, because it's an applied science. It's not to learn and stick with it. And when you start doing a project, you realize that you learn more, because there are many things that your project will cost you to want to research and do. And then you realize that when you were just studying, maybe you were just reading to pass, read and write and A, B, C, D, but then with a project, it has to work. You have to make the thing work for you to be satisfied. So you do everything to succeed in that light. And that is what will keep you, will make you to stand out and will outshine more than anything else. So I hope I answered your question well, Gadi. Did I answer your question well? Did I answer your question? Okay. Okay. So I think, okay. So, okay. Not okay. 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 That's good. That's good. So, Gadi is good. I like if you're happy. Okay. So, any feedbacks, any comments, anything before we wrap up? Okay. Okay. So, okay. So if there are no comments, no feedback, then
I do have a feedback. Like, I don't know why nobody's talking, but I want to say it was a great presentation. We went in depth this time around and touched like the steps of the whole process. That was one thing I'm very clear about right now, and I'm grateful for all those who asked questions, and I've gotten some more insight. And I want to say thank you, sir, for putting this together. It shows the time and energy and intention you have put into it. Thank you for taking out time to teach us, and we hope to do better in the next session. Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else has feedback? You could turn on the mic if you want to. It's no problem. You know, the more you teach, the more you learn. I'm also a student. Okay. Yeah, Frank. Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Okay. Okay. I think that okay. Yes. Thank you, Jason. So can somebody write me just what you might like us to talk about next time? What might you like? What might you like more, maybe in depth? What might you want? Thank you, Liz. Thanks, Liz. What might you want for we go away so I can be able to provide you value? What might you want? Okay. Okay, no problem. Not to, if we don't have anything coming yet, not to waste waste your time. Okay, somebody says we do an example of the first 3 steps of the data analysis process. Okay, okay, yeah, that's a good point. Thanks so much for this webinar. Okay, thank you to Oluwasen. Okay, and I think that any other thing we can continue email, chat, and WhatsApp, not to take up much of the time. We already 20 minutes above time. It was interesting. It's true. There's so much passion to share with you, but we have to end somehow. Okay, so bye-bye, and wish you good data luck.